Yeah, no, it's slightly... If Stanley Tucci said it would sound a whole lot better. Anyway, Nigel is going to sell it and it's going to sound amazing.
Yeah.
On the line then, Sister Jackie Brambles joins us in the Confessional Collective one more time. Hello, Sister Jackie.
Afternoon, chaps. Thank you very much for inviting me back. Nice to be back with you both. And just to tell you that the legendary drummer from the Police, Stuart Copeland, I'm beside myself with excitement, is our special guest on The Great Conversation tonight.
Wow. He is a top guest, Stuart Copeland on with Jackie. But first of all, the highlight of Jackie's day is this, of course. Obviously.
Of course.
Today's confession comes from Paul. Paul, thank you. Let's see if I can get this one right. Simon and thank you very much for all the confessions, by the way, which came in while I was away. I read some of them during my detention in Denmark. Very entertaining. Simon and the Confessions crew, says Paul, this confession goes back to my college days in 1978. I know that you like to change the names of people and the location, but in this instance, the location is quite important. I was studying land surveying at a large polytechnic in northeast London, and being avid cavers, Carol and I decided to survey a cave for our college project. Carol has no further part in this confession. I just thought she might like to hear her name on the radio.
Okay.
Another member of the caving club, let's call him Ray, was interested in archaeology and was involved as a volunteer at a dig in Waltham Abbey Gardens. While there, he found out that there is a medieval sewer system beneath the gardens. A wishing well was the entrance. Also, there was a hole surrounded by a metal cage to prevent access and a tunnel from a nearby river. Other than these 3 points of access, no one knew where it went. So Ray immediately volunteered our expertise to explore and survey the sewers. Ray and I arranged to visit and carry out a reconnoitre, a recon, a recce, as we say, before returning with a team and the equipment to carry out the survey. We arranged to go up the next weekend and had a meeting with the archaeology team and a representative from the council. The councilman was happy with us exploring the system, but apologised for the fact that the chap who knew where the key to the lock on the wishing well was had gone on holiday for 3 weeks.
Of course.
So we'd have to wait for his return.
Yeah.
Classic local council. We said that we would use the entrance from the river, so it was all fine. After all, we were wearing wetsuits and we were used to underground rivers. This was our playground, Father Simon, and we would need to explore all of the system. Well, the trip from the river was interesting. The tunnel was so low we had to kneel with the back of our helmets scraping the roof. Also, the water level was just beneath my mouth, so we didn't speak very much. This doesn't sound like a lot of fun, really.
Oh, I'm panicking already.
As we progressed along the tunnel, the water was full of waterlogged branches that had drifted in, which made progress very difficult. Fortunately, there were no large logs blocking the way, as I tried reversing at one point, but this was impossible. In hindsight, it might have been the most dangerous place I have ever visited. Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Well, it was... this tunnel was some 80 to 100 metres long, but it seemed like forever before we got to the end. And the end was under the wishing well. Now, here there was a weir which we crossed over with care. This was our journey to the centre of the earth, Father Simon. If only we had Rick Wakeman to play his best-selling album for us, everything would have been fabulous. Ancient sewers, just like modern ones, were used as rubbish dumps, and as this one was disused, Ray was able to collect lots of small items that he thought would interest the archaeology team, and as the place was quite extensive, by the time we arrived back at the weir, we had a double handful of finds. We realised that there was no way that we could carry these finds back through the tunnel, so we looked for somewhere to leave them. The grid above us was not suitable, but there was a small side tunnel which took the water from the weir out around the rose garden. As I was a bit slimmer than Ray, I found that by lying on my back with my arm extended ahead of me, I could get far enough into this tunnel to reach the end where there was a convenient brick ledge where I could leave the finds. I was now, as it happened, right under the well. Remember the wishing well which I mentioned earlier?
Oh, yeah.
And so we get to the confession. I don't know why this happened, but it did. That is where I was. This is what I heard. Little girl, so I'm under the well, right?
Okay.
Little girl's voice. Mummy, I'm going to look down the well, Mummy. Mum's voice. You be very careful. Sound of happy feet. A pause. A vague shadow is cast down the well as the little girl peers into the abyss. Unfortunately for the girl, the abyss is peering back. More to the point, It speaks.
I'm a troll, foldy roll. I'm a troll, foldy roll.
There was an audible gasp from the girl.
Wow.
Then,
Hi, little girl. Can you tell me the time, please? It's very dark down here.
Oh no.
at least it didn't say, hiya, Georgie.
You know, yeah.
Anyway, this was met by a scream, then some very unhappy feet as the girl ran, saying, and I heard, Mummy, Mummy, there's someone down the well. This was then followed by a slap on her legs, different times.
Yeah.
I've told you not to tell lies, said the mother. Anyway, eventually we were able to continue and store the finds on the ledge and exit the tunnel. By the time we did exit, there were no signs of a lady and no signs of a daughter either, and it was getting dark. So, here's the point of the confession. If you were a small girl in Waltham Abbey Park who was unfairly chastised by your mother just because a couple of idiots down a well, then please accept our sincerest apology. Note, I visited the gardens again a few weeks ago after the heavy rain. The stream around the rose garden was just a muddy ditch. The well is still there, but is covered over, as is the other hole, and the river entrance is heavily overgrown. I don't think anyone will be going down there anytime soon. Well, and just as well, if you ask me. Anyway, a caving confession. Who knew?
Yeah.
But in the end, it's scaring small children confession. We've had quite a lot of those. Anyway, Sister Jackie Brambles.
That took a turn. I wasn't expecting that outcome. That poor little girl. You are absolutely not forgiven, you terrifying man. You've given her nightmares, a bit of a slap on the legs, a traumatized mother who feels like a terrible parent. Naughty, very, very naughty.
Unforgiven from Sister Jackie, brother from another
Yeah,
gutter.
I mean, you do have to question Paul's choices as a student. Choosing to survey the sewers, there's not enough money in the world that make me want to... What happened to sticking a traffic cone on your head? Those are student days, not going down there. And fines in the sewers... There's not, let's be perfectly honest, there's not a lot of great stuff down in the sewers. That said, if you are in that situation and there's a little girl looking down the well, which of us would honestly say we wouldn't do the troll thing? I know we all would. So for that reason, I'm going to forgive.
Okay, so it's divided in the studio. It's entirely down to the people's verdict. 61054, first word is Simon. Do you forgive Paul? Yes or no? 61054, first word is Simon. The people's verdict is expected shortly. Before the news, we heard a confession from Paul, who, with his caving chum Ray, was deep underground and then found themselves actually under a well. Just as a little girl peered over the top. So obviously they said,
I'm a troll, foldy roll.
and so on, with hilarious consequences. Anyway, the people's verdict is in.
Not forgiven, says Sam in Norwich. Who hangs out in the sewers for a fun day out? The thought alone is gross enough. Mark, your friendly drain man, says, I found that confession absolutely hilarious. I work in sewers myself, and we've done many things to other people while we've been down there. I forgive him, and I'm nearly crying with laughter. And Adam from Lichfield says, I think I'm going to forgive this one. All's well that ends well.
Okay, all right, well, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, Paul is going to get the smart speaker. If you fancy one, send us your best confession. Send it to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk.